Hi and welcome. This is my mission trip to Nicaragua. So it's going to be a video of my experiences there and how I saw God work in my life since then, and yeah, just give you kind of a perspective of what happened on that trip. So the first thing that we did, I think it was somewhere between 25 and 3,000 of us ended up in Miami, Florida. We got there and we had a big day. The day before we left, we did a bunch of training and a bunch of, just really kind of getting us ready, spiritually getting us ready, emotionally. And so as you look at some of these pictures on here, you'll see, feeding 3,000 missionaries is no small feat, and they did amazing. They fed us well, they took care of us. So there is a ton of people, there's a ton of activity, there's a ton of things going on. As you can see, just from I mean, these pictures didn't even do it any justice, but at that point, there was lots of stuff going on, lots of activity, and I'm thinking that I need to be super close to God, and yet I could, in that exact moment, I couldn't necessarily hear him. And what I learned in that is that it's okay to step away from life sometimes. It's okay to step away from everything that's happening and go spend time with God. And so that's exactly what I did. I actually had to, I went back into the auditorium and or the theater, whatever we were in, and everyone else was out on the lawn eating and visiting or whatever, but I knew that this trip was really, really important from a spiritual perspective, because we were going there to share Jesus with people. And so I took my Bible and I went and I sat down and I just kind of plugged my ears because I didn't want to hear the noise. I didn't want to hear anything. I just wanted to be with me and God. And that's what I do at home. And that's what I guess what I want to share with you is that it's okay. It's okay to step away from all the activities sometimes just to hear your Father's voice. And that's what I had to do. And then I felt that peace return to me. I felt that calmness return to me because I was feeling probably a little bit overwhelmed, I'm sure, as most of us, I'm sure, were. So from there, we moved on, bigger and better things. God makes all things good. And when something like this, when you're about to set out on to do God's work, many times the enemy wants to slow you down, wants to stop you. And he tried for sure. So we were one of the first flights to fly out. Our flight was like in the middle of the night on the Saturday, and we were supposed to fly out, but we sat on the tarmac with no air conditioning, or even fresh air, no air, period, for 2 hours or just under 2 hours. And we were all getting pretty, it was the middle of the night. We're already getting stretched. Our faith is already being tested. But you know what? As a group, I thought we did fantastic. Nobody freaked out. Nobody, we handled it well. But to me, that was the start of our testing, of our growth throughout this trip. The other big thing that really happened is that this group of people, so we got to Managua, Nicaragua, 2 hours later than what we were supposed to. But the rest of our team, over half of us, there was 240 of us that had come together from Danny Johnson's community to go on this missions trip. And there was over half of us, I think like only 80 of us made it to Managua. The rest of them were stuck in the Miami airport due to there's lots of things going on, like delays and things, and so then that flight crew couldn't actually fly anymore legally, and so they were stuck there. They were stuck in Miami airport, and the flights were canceled until the next day. So what they did, this group of like 100 and whatever, 120 of them or 100 and something of them, they actually stood in the airport, Miami airport. They prayed, they worshiped, they sang, they laughed, they had tons of fun, and they just formed a tight group, tight bond. And the thing that happened is that people were watching. This is a major international airport, and people were, taking pictures on their phone, taking videos on their phone. And I just thought, God doesn't just let things go bad for no reason. Things go bad. That looked like that might have went bad to us. the rest of us in Managua were like, oh no, they're not getting here. We need them all, right? Because we've got skits planned and things planned where we need all these people. A lot of our medical team was on those flights, and but God took it and He made it such an amazing thing, because not only did that group become super tight and super unified to come into Managua and do the work, but we were praying on every side, right? They were praying, we were praying, everyone in between was praying, and God just used it. So there were people. Now I wasn't there, but from what I understand is that there were people, in at least one person in the airport, that gave his life to Jesus because of what happened here. And I just think that is so awesome, because that's what this whole trip was for, was to bring Jesus to a nation, right? Bring Jesus to the world. And so anyway, I thought that was super cool. So that was just one of the ways. And but really, how do you stop 3,000 people on fire for God? It just doesn't happen that easily. So we continued to go out. We went out that day without most of our team. They were all flying in, and we were out. We were in schools, and just having an amazing day doing what we did. And we formed a tight group as well. We became very, very unified, and we just went out to do the work. We weren't gonna, we were given the option to either stay in the hotel and practice our skits and do that kind of thing, or to head out into the mission field. And we decided, no way, we want to go out. And so that's how God works. God just works in people. When they're willing, He will use them. So one thing that I want to show, see, this is the flag. This is the Nicaragua flag. We went to a big ceremony on the Monday morning. This was a big deal. Nicaragua, this Nicaragua Bria that we were doing, this event that was happening, was a big deal in Nicaragua. Now I can't go into all the details because I don't remember exactly how the story went, but there was a man that spoke to us on Saturday night, when we were still in Miami, and he was talking to us about how in the past the government of Nicaragua said that the people weren't ready. They weren't ready for this type of thing. And so finally, after a few attempts at getting into this country, they were ready. The government figured that these people were ready. And so this was a big deal, because you'll see the little yellow flag underneath is the Nicaragua Bria sign or flag. And then the big flag is their Nicaraguan flag. And they actually took the flag down and they hung the Nicaragua Bria flag underneath, and all the government officials, and it was a big deal. So we were there to witness that and to watch that. So that was pretty amazing all in itself. And then, so that first day we took off, we went to the schools, like I mentioned, we had different teams than what we were assigned. We weren't allowed to go anywhere in Nicaragua by ourselves. We had groups of 25, and we had a squad leader, 2 squad leaders, like within our group, and then we had group leaders. And so when those people all got hung up in Miami, everything got messed up. But it was so awesome because we just pulled together. So this is our first day, and this lady April, she's just a sweetheart, such a sweetheart. And that was the only day we actually got to work together, so that was a blessing all in itself. But these kids, this was a school that we went to, and just my heart was just wide open for these kids. We got to pray for them. We got to talk to them. We had translators everywhere we went. Just about everywhere we went, we had translators, and we got to, they spoke for us. So we got to talk to these kids. And then one little girl, the little girl that's got her hand behind my shoulder, she's got a white t-shirt on. She actually touched my face, and she said in English, "I love you very much." And that just broke my heart, because I thought, she spoke English, which I was, something happens when people speak our language. That's why I want to learn their language. The next time I go back, I have to know their language better. But it was amazing. They just touch your heart. And these people were so open to us coming into their country. They knew exactly why we were there. This is a big deal. This was on TV. This was on the news. This was, there's posters, Nicaragua Bria posters, those yellow posters all over the city of Managua, all over the country. We were only in Managua, but there was missionaries in every other part of Nicaragua. So they were so opening and so welcoming of us to come in, and, they just knew that we were there to help them, and we were there to, to help them become more than what they are, or be better, I guess, right? They just knew that we were there to help them. And so it was amazing. It was really hard to leave these kids on that it was hard to leave them all, but especially that first day was really, really touching. Now I want to talk to you guys about the something called the Triangle of Death. And before I show you this, I want you to think for a second. I want you to, Actually, I'm going to go. So the night before we left, we went to, this is a place in Chinandega, which is in another state. So we drove 3 hours out of Managua to go to this place. And Danny Johnson came in and talked to us before we left. And she said, you know, she kind of told us a little bit about this place, what we were going to expect. This is the hottest place in Nicaragua. And also, obviously, I think one of the poorest. Well, obviously, where these guys are is the poorest. And she just said, okay, guys, the buses are going to drive through the dump. You don't get to stop there. You don't get to get out there, but you're going to stop. And I want you to ask yourself, what if this was your friends and family? What if this were your kids that were digging in the trash? Or why were you not born here? And so she said she really wanted us to pay attention to the people, because this dump site that we're at, like I'm sitting on the bus, this is what we're looking at. These people work in the dump daily. They work in the dump, they eat out of the dump, they find their building supplies to build their homes with out of the dump. The smell of this place was absolutely like nothing I've ever smelled before. It was absolutely crazy. There was cows out there that were super skinny, and anyway, so we get here, and it's about here where I lose it, and I'm probably going to lose it here too, because it is only by the grace of God that we weren't born in places like this. We were born here in North America. Most of you watching this are probably here. Some of you from Nicaragua are probably watching this, but we were blessed to be born here. These people were not. We saw people, we saw women, pregnant women, brand new little babies. So these kids are being born into this place, and they don't know anything else. There's no, you know, government program to look after these people. There's no, like here in Canada, we have poor people. We do have poor people, but the government helps, right? On some level, the government will help. We have free healthcare. Man, these people don't even, some of them have probably never even seen a doctor. So to think, when we sat there and just watched these people, right? Just watched and smelt that smell. It was the most disgusting thing I've ever smelt, I think. And these people live in it. So this is where we have kingsransom.org is the nonprofit organization that is helping to build these homes. The Danny Johnson community has built over 800 homes as of now, and I'm going to show you those homes in a second. And it was announced while we were there that another 1,000 homes were going to be built. Those 1,000 homes were supposed to take 5 years, and with the amazing, generous hearts from the Danny Johnson community of the people, I believe 2.5 years. There's still 200 homes to go in that first section, which will come, I think, by the end of this year, and then there's another 1,000 planned, and you're going to see why it's important. This is homes. These are the homes of the people that live by the dump. It's not a home. This is just a bunch of stuff put together, but this is all they have. This is the only place they can live, because I forget the exact story, but there was some sort of major natural disaster many years ago, a tsunami or earthquake or something, I don't remember. And anyway, the people that were left, that survived, I guess, got picked up and put somewhere, which was here. I missed part of that story, I think, but they got put there, and they've just, I don't know if they just got forgotten or what the case may be, but these people now live and eat and do everything in the dump. And so this is homes. These are more homes. You see, it's this plastic. That's plastic roofs. They have major rainfall in Nicaragua. And these are their homes. So I want you to be, one thing that really struck me when I left there was how grateful we have to be. If you're watching this, if you have some sort of a device to watch this video on, you have so much to be grateful for. So much. I just thought we can't complain about standing in line at the doctors. These people stood in line all day long to get in to see our medical team. We actually went, I think I have pictures on here of the day we went to the medical clinics. But these people, they don't have anything. They don't have money. They don't have healthcare. They don't have vehicles. They don't have food, man. They don't even have like beds or anything. So this was something that it just made me go, we have to be willing to do more. We are so blessed in North America. Oh my goodness, like so blessed. We can go to the grocery store. We can, go to the doctor. Most of us have a vehicle, right? Or we know someone who has a vehicle. So that was one of the biggest things. Like that day that we went there on the Tuesday was, for all of us, the 240 of us from Danny Johnson's community that were on this trip, it impacted every single one of us, probably like more than we could even think about that day. It was smoking hot there, like smoking hot there. I don't even know the temperature, but we walked around, and this is how they live. This is what they live in. And you know what? The people were so beautiful. They were so beautiful, so welcoming. And I want to show you what happens when you impart hope into people, because that's exactly what has happened. So this is the transformation. The transformation that's happened since Danny Johnson came to know, and that's a story all in itself. And if you want to know that whole story, I could definitely get you her. I think she did a video or something that talks about this. But she's actually Nicaraguan. Her real dad is from Nicaragua, and she ended up there trying to like find her family, look for her family, that kind of thing. And that's how she came upon the dump. She apparently, I forget exactly all the details, but that's how she came upon this place. And so she just cried. She said she hit the ground like, Father, what am I supposed to do? She's a very, very successful businesswoman. She helps people make money and save marriages and restore relationships all the time. And she's been doing it for many, many years. And she cried and she said, Lord, what am I supposed to do? What do you want me to do? And then she knew that he told her to build homes. So she thought, 100. And I think he said to her, dream bigger. And it ended up to be 1,000. And she's like, Lord, I don't know how to do 1,000 homes. But she's already, just by the passion of her and her vision, she's imparted that vision into us. And guess what happens? And now that vision that's in us is giving hope to these people. So these are the new homes. So you can see this home right here, pink and purple, or pink and teal green, like these are their colors, I guess. These are the homes. So this is what donations do. This is what the donations for King's Ransom have done. 100% of the money that gets donated to kingsransom.org go to building these homes. So these are some of the homes, and it was amazing. It was so amazing to watch. There was this elderly man sitting on the deck of one of these homes, and I asked my translator, I said, ask him if that is his home. And this man said, yes. He's speaking, in his native tongue, but he says, yes. He said, praise God, praise God. This is my home. And, he wanted us to go in, and we saw another little boy. I'll tell you about him in a minute. I got pictures coming up, but yeah, actually I won't tell that story yet because I'll tell you in a second. But also what has happened here is, you'll see that third picture. It's kind of, the picture didn't obviously do it injustice, but they've created, now King's Ransom has made a small medical facility for the people at the dump. And so now, they can get checkups, or they can, maybe get some small medical care. Obviously anything major, they still have to go away for. But now, and then there's a community center that got opened up while we were there as well. And this is going to help them. It's going to educate them. It's going to help them to learn how to, to do, maybe start a business, maybe do things, maybe learn English, like all those things it can teach them. So that is so cool, because you guys, we take our education for granted, right? Oh, the kid's got to go back to school, oh, I'm going to go to college. Oh, maybe I think I'm going to go back to school. We totally take our education for granted. They don't have the opportunity for education. These kids don't go to school, most of them, as far as I understand. And so to be able to give them a home, a safe place to sleep, to be comfortable, to be secure, and then teach them how to how to better themselves, how to survive and pay for them, like, or look after their families. This is major. This is so major, and the hope that is imparted in those people. There's nothing like watching that happen. Nothing like it, I tell you, to watch hope that happens in people that were once hopeless. So this is Dani Johnson, you guys. I don't know if you know her. For some of you that have watched this video, you've heard me talk about Dani Johnson. I mean, it's because of this woman that we were there. Mission.me was already going, but I probably never ever would have heard of them. I probably never would have known anything about them if it wasn't for Dani. And one thing that I want to say about this, and I'll talk to this about this at the end as well, but she had a vision, right? She has big, huge visions, but she's not just a wisher. She's not just a dreamer. She's a doer. She's going to get out and do something. And that, to me, is what I wanted. That's what I'm learning from her, is like, just go do it. Don't talk about it. Just go do it. And so will be forever grateful to her and her vision, because it opened up my eyes to do more for God. I want to do more for God. I want to be his hands and feet. And I've said that. If any of you guys, see me, really passionately talking about my Lord, that's what I want to do. I want to be his hands and feet. But sometimes we don't always know how. We don't actually sometimes maybe know what we're supposed to do, because whatever, overwhelm or just simply not knowing. But in any case, you guys, it took one woman. Her vision got us there, and now her vision will continue to transform these people. So I just want you to think about how big your vision could be. What is your vision, and could it be bigger? And do you need someone to maybe help you fine tune that or grow that? Anyway, sorry for that little blurb. I'm not sure what happened there. I couldn't go backwards. So these are just some of the beautiful people that we met that day in Chinandega. So this lady, when all of us are there with her, we are praying for her family. Her daughter was, I think, having a new baby that day, or soon, right around there. And so we were praying for her. And the lady and the two kids that I'm with on this side, I wish I knew how to have a pointer. I don't know how to do that. I got to learn this. My next video will be better, but this one. But anyway, these people were just amazing people that I, got to pray for, pray over, and just really touch your heart, right? Just when you hear their stories, like this mom and her two daughters, at the dump, she's homeless. She was staying with her brother, but we talked about homes, and I said that, God provides for me as a single mom. God provides for me all the time. And we talked about her getting a home one day, and it was amazing. It was just amazing to watch her and her daughter's face at the thought of having a home. It was so amazing. So anyway, now I will go on, but I just wanted to share that with you. These are some kids that just absolutely broke my heart. This little girl with the baby on the far side, the little girl and the baby, she is a 4-year-old. She's a 4-year-old, and she babysits that baby all day, every day. Now I'm assuming it's because her parents probably work in the dump, and that's what she has to do. But you should have saw her. She's carrying this little baby around like she knows exactly what to do with it. And it just was heartbreaking to think, like, a 4-year-old to me is still someone that we look after here in North America. We still baby them. They don't get to be on their own, and yet this little girl is babysitting this baby. So again, it really makes you take a look at your life and realize that we have nothing to complain about. Nothing to complain about. Our kids are so much healthier, but we have to train our kids in such a way that they don't take what we have for granted. We have to train our kids to be willing to help others, because we've been given what we've been given in Canada and the US and all of North America, basically all the developed countries. We've been given that, not so that we can just be happy and live. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being happy. God wants us to be happy, but we have to be willing to help those less fortunate. And so when we can train our kids to know that there's another world out there, that there's people that don't live like we do, I think it's going to go a long ways in our future generations, right? This little boy in the next picture, he was so excited. That's their home behind him. And they got pigs. They had little pigs, and they had baby pigs that day. And he was so excited to show us. We didn't have time to go in and see them because we were told we had to go. But you know, I was just so happy to see the happiness on him. Something as simple as a pig. It just made his day, right? And so again, just to remember to be grateful. Remember to be grateful. Okay, so this is the day. This is the evening of Wednesday. On Wednesday we went to the medical clinic, and oh my goodness, such a powerful day. We just split up kind of, and we prayed for people. Like, there was people that were sitting there and sitting there and sitting there waiting to get in. This lineup was all the way out the door, down the street, and kind of like wrapped around when we got there. And apparently that was like that every single day. People would just line up from first thing in the morning, and they didn't know how long they were going to stand there. And it is hot there. It is so, so hot there. But anyway, so we would pray for people. You know, we would go and we'd talk to them, and we'd ask them, you know, is there something we can pray for you for? And I was so blessed. I just felt so blessed because I was sitting, there's a group that was going to go to the medical. They were the next ones to go in to see the medical team, right? And I just I started going up and down the line in the front, but I realized that everyone was shifting every time someone would move. So I just parked myself right there. And it was amazing, 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 amazing to be able to pray for that many people, because I would just ask them, like, what do you need prayer for? What can I do for you today? And they, through the translator, they would tell me what it is that they needed prayer for. And so I just got to pray for so many people that day. It was just amazing. And I had asked God, I said, God, I want to be able to understand them. I want them to be able to understand me. And as that day is progressing, I could understand what they were saying on some level, right? Like I'd be like, hey, did he just say that he has a hernia? And my translator would be like, yep. And then he'd fill in the gaps for me, obviously. But it was amazing. I was just like, I just loved being God's hands and feet, loving on those people, touching those people and praying for them. It was the most amazing experience of my life. And then that night we went to churches. We all split up and everyone went to different churches, and we happened to be so blessed to be able to go up into the mountains. I don't know if they call them mountains, but it was way high up from where we were. And we went to this beautiful little church, and so much life in that church, man. They're singing and dancing, and man, there's just tons of life there. But you know what happened? On the way up there, I said to God, God, I want more of what I saw this morning. I want to be able to understand these people, and I want them to understand me, because we weren't taking any translators with us that night to the church. And there was no translators that were coming with us. So we were just going to have to, you know, do whatever we were going to do. And so anyway, we all line up. There's about 25 or, you know, whatever, however many of us lined up after we'd one of us, our squad leader, had done some, you know, done a sermon and stuff for them. And then we line up in front and we ask if anyone wants prayer requests, just come on up. We'll be here. And this girl come and stood before me, and I asked her if she spoke English, and she said no. And so then I was just like, okay, I'm just going to pray in English because that's all I got. And she understood me. Like, she was like, yeah, she understood that. All of a sudden, there was a hand on my shoulder, and I looked up, and there's this man, a Nicaraguan man, standing there. And he said, hey, I speak English. Can I help you? And I said, oh, yes, please. Yes, please. So this man, a very, very powerful Nicaraguan man, stood beside me the entire night. And he would just translate everything that I said. He would just translate. And it was so beautiful. Again, that night, I don't know how many people that I got to pray for and pray over. It was like just a steady stream, just kept coming. And I was just so honored and so blessed, because out of 25 or however many people we had there, missionaries, that guy came, and I wasn't at the end. I was like in the middle. He had to walk past other missionaries to get to me. And I just thought that was a complete answer to prayer for me, because my prayer was from my heart, God, I want them to understand me, and I want to understand them. Well, then he brings me a man who speaks perfect English and perfect Spanish. How beautiful is that? And so then I got to pray for a pastor. She wanted a new church. This lady in the white on the bottom here, she's a pastor up there in those mountainous regions, whatever. And she wanted a land and a building for her own church. And so we prayed over that, which was kind of a highlight, because I just felt so honored to be able to pray over and for a pastor who prays over and for people. So it was really beautiful. Then she introduced me to all of her family, and it was just amazing to me. It was so amazing to truly watch God in action, and just to see the people. People are just, yeah, they just wanted to know more. They're seeking. They want to be close to God, and they want more. And so that was pretty amazing, just all in itself, just to watch God work in people that already know Him, but to take them even maybe to a deeper level of faith. It was just absolutely life-changing for me. So fantastic. And these are just some of our beautiful friends, like just some of the friends I made. So the translators, they were always joking that you have all the translators. And I'm like, because there'd be a couple times I'd turn around and I'd have like a whole bunch of them. And I'm like, that's because God knows that I want to understand these people and I want them to understand, I want to be able to talk to them. So translators, if you guys were watching this, I just want you to know how absolutely grateful I am to you for all that you did. You poured your hearts, your souls into us and into your people through that week. And it was beautiful. And I know that God's going to use you because each one of you were hand chosen. Each one of you were chosen by the hand of God to do His work. And there is no bigger honor, I don't think, than that. So I know that He's got good, amazing plans for you. And I just can't wait to see what happens and to see you again when I come back, because I know that I'm coming back. On the other picture, that was our group. We had been at a ball game. We got to go. Baseball is really big. Baseball and soccer are really big in Nicaragua. It's like two big sports. And obviously baseball is an expensive sport to play, right? Because the gloves are not cheap and that kind of thing. And so we were instructed to bring ball gloves with us when we went. And so we watched a game. So our Mission.me people and some of our squad leaders or, things like that, they all played against a team in Managua. And so we watched this ball game. So that was really super cool. But then what happened after was amazing. So all the kids that play baseball, hey, come in their little uniforms or whatever, so that, they stood out. And they all came onto the field, onto the ball diamond, and they were all lined up in different, sections or whatever. And then all the missionaries, and I think I want to say there was 1,000 or 1,500 of us in, I can't remember what the number was, of us in Managua. And so all of these missionaries come onto the field. And so I got to back up a little bit. So before I left to go, I went to go buy ball gloves. And I was just like, okay, I saw the opposite hand. I don't know which one's the right hand or left hand, but whatever. The opposite one, the one that most kids don't catch with. I saw a glove and I'm like, okay, Lord, do I take an opposite one? Because, but the guy at the store, he said, I wouldn't. He said, I would take the regular handed glove because it's only like 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 that need that other glove. And so I'm praying about it because I pray about everything. But then I was just like, no. You know what? What about the kid that doesn't get it? So I take the opposite hand. So we're all in lines at this ball diamond and there's lines in front. There's a line in front of me. And so I shouldn't actually be going for a while. Like it should take a while for that line to go through. But anyway, this cute little Nicaraguan boy comes through and I can see him going, nope. Every time he's passing all these things, nope. And I had a translator. I'm like, you have to stay here because I have to find a kid that needs the other hand. But I didn't even need my translator because there was another man from Nicaragua and he goes, hey, I need the opposite hand glove. And I said, I go. And so that glove that I was kind of concerned about after I got there, I'm like, oh no, what if now I can't find a kid that needs it? But within 5 minutes, that little boy, he just looked so devastated no, can't take that glove. And then when I gave him the glove that I had bought for him to have, oh my goodness, his little face just lit up and he just looked at me with such gratitude in his eyes. And I just felt so blessed again to be able to have spoke to the one who might not have had another glove, right? I mean, I'm sure other people probably brought those gloves too, but it was just a beautiful experience. I wish I would have taken a picture, but because I was kind of cutting in line, I didn't think that I should stop and take pictures with this little boy. But so sweet, so amazing. So I just felt super blessed. And so we just got a big group picture at the end because we had such a tight, beautiful, amazing group. Like, you want to talk about making best friends quickly. This is exactly what happens on a trip like this. You just, at least our team, I don't know about anybody else's, but like our team and the whole Danny Johnson group were just beautifully, tightly knit. And I just think that's how we are supposed to be as people in the world normally. We're supposed to love our brothers and sisters, and we're supposed to honor and respect them, and that's what we did. And just amazing, amazing, amazing. So if you can take anything from that, I hope that you can get, the honoring and the respecting of people. These are some other beautiful friends that I made. Just had the best time. These two ladies in front of the lake there, they're twin sisters from the UK, from London. Had the best time with those ladies. Man, I laughed so incredibly hard. They're just amazing, amazing individuals. And then on the other picture, that was my roommate and another lady that was on our team. Again, beautiful, beautiful women, beautiful hearts. And so we were at the volcano. So the one picture, we're at the lagoon, because on the Friday, it was kind of a fun day. We got to go see Nicaragua. We got to drive around, and as beautiful as that was, I mean, I love seeing the beauty. And on a normal trip, I would have wanted to be in both of these places. But it was really funny for me that I didn't want to leave the mission field. I'm like, yeah, this is all fun and good, but I want to be. Can't we go to the schools? Can't we go to the medical clinic? Can't we go and do the work? So that was kind of a switch for me, because you guys, whoever knows me, knows that I love to travel. I love to have fun. So that to me was kind of a different switch. I'm like, yeah, this is fine and good, but I felt somewhat unsettled that day because I knew where I wanted to be. I knew where my heart was, and that was with the people. So anyway, beautiful place though. The country itself is gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. And this was the big Nicaragua Bria event. This is what we promoted the entire week that we were there. We gave out little flyers, we gave out booklets, we told everyone, we invited them, hey, can you come on Saturday? Can you come on Saturday? So Saturday night, there was, I think, now again, I don't know if I got the exact number, but like something like 60,000 people at this one stadium. There were stadiums all over Nicaragua, like everywhere. So there would have been that amounts of people everywhere else. But sorry, I'm just watching my cats be mean to each other. Lost my train of thought. So anyway, this event was another, it was a big deal. So there was tons of people there. We didn't get to stay, like our flight left earliest, so we had to leave before the event actually ended, which kind of made me sad because I felt like we didn't get to really pray for anyone, or we just sort of had to keep in our group, and because there's so many people, it's so hard to do anything. But I think afterwards, from some of the videos and pictures that I saw after the event, is when the missionaries actually got to pray with people and that kind of thing. So that was a little bit of a disappointment, that I didn't get to love on these people one last time before I left. But it's okay, because I know that there was amazing missionaries there that were taking care of them and loving on them. And so that definitely, definitely made it easier to go, for sure. And now, what's next? I want to leave this video with a call to action, because I'm in marketing, and so everything I do has a call to action. But in all honesty, you don't have to go around the world to be a missionary. You don't have to, it's not only for the people overseas that need us. It is for the people everywhere, the people in our backyard, the people down the street. They all need to know that there's a better way. They need to know that there's a healer, a master healer. We saw people, oh my goodness, I forgot to tell you this. We saw people, there were people on this trip that had been in wheelchairs for months or even years, and after people prayed over them, they got up and walked. Now tell me that our God is not big and powerful and can do amazing things. We saw people healing. One guy posted a video about what happened to him. His leg, he was an ex-military, and one of his legs was always maybe damaged or something like that. And he watched his leg grow back to the same size as his other one, just from people praying over him. I myself had started to get a cold, one day we're traveling and I just asked my friend next to me to pray for me. Within an hour, my symptoms are all gone. Super awesome. We saw God work in so many, many, many powerful ways. It's just amazing. And that's what we can see everywhere. You know, one thing that I learned just from watching Danny prays with such authority. Danny prays just powerfully, passionately, right? She just prays. And that's one thing that I learned, is that we get to bring that home with us. We went on this trip and we are so blessed and so amazingly touched to be on that trip. However, that's not the end. That's not the end. It's not the end for any of those missionaries on that trip or anybody watching the videos from the missionaries on that trip. It's not the end, because God is doing a huge thing right now. God wants his people to know him. He wants his people to hear his voice. And sometimes you may have to hear it from a human. Sometimes that's where it's going to come from. So one thing that I know when okay, I'm going to back up a little bit. So before I left to go on this trip, I don't know if you've ever had this happen where God actually kind of gives you a little bit of a, you know, discipline action, right? That's happened to me quite a few times and I know it. But the day before I was leaving to go on the trip, I was in Cold Lake, which is about an hour from me. And there was a man on the sidewalk that clearly needed something, help, prayers, something, right? Clearly. And sorry, I'm just trying to watch, see if he's being nicer. Anyway, I did nothing. I'm very embarrassed to say that I walked right past this man twice. I walked right past him without offering him anything. I didn't even pray for him silently in my head. And yet I'm going on this major trip to go help people. So I walk past him the second time. I get in my vehicle and God says to me, "Oh, so you can fly all the way around the country or halfway around the world or whatever to go help people, but you're not willing to help the ones that are sitting right in front of you." Oh, and I knew that was God. And when God talks to you, you can't, I couldn't lie and say, no, whatever. That's not it. I knew that I'm like, I'm so sorry. Please show me what to do. But I think the lesson that day for me was to just be willing to help anyone, not just in Nicaragua, not just on a missions trip, but anywhere. And anyway, so that was with me the entire time that I was in Nicaragua, as well as I had learned just before I left about a big training coming up in September that is for First Nations. It's wellness training. And that was on me as well. Like that just sat with me throughout the entire trip. So I knew that I was coming home to do work, right? I will go back to Nicaragua, I have no doubt, but I also know that I've got to work here right now. I've got to be God's hands and feet here. And so that was one thing that was really clear to me. Come home and get to work. Take what you've learned there and bring it home. So I'll tell you how I brought it home. Another missionary and I were in the airport waiting for our flights. And so we, still had some time, whatever. And so we were just praying about some of the people that we'd met, praying for her because she was getting these cold symptoms and stuff. And so I was praying for her. And all of a sudden this man came up to us. He's in a dark suit. And he comes up to us and he says, "Excuse me, ladies." And I'm thinking, uh-oh, is he security? Are we not allowed to pray here? However, he wasn't. This man he just came to thank us for praying. He said, "That was so beautiful to watch you two pray." He said, "Thank you so much." So we prayed for him and his wife. They were from Nigeria. We got to pray for them. We now have a place to stay in Nigeria if we ever go there. So that was pretty cool. Then I'm sitting later on in the night, because I was in the airport for a long, long time, but I'm sitting later over by a payphone and I'm just trying to just spend some time by myself and just talk to God. And there was a man at the payphone. And I could hear him putting his money in, but I wasn't really paying attention to him. I could hear him putting his money in, not doing anything, putting his money in, not doing anything. And anyway, finally I hear him kind of sound exasperated. And I said, "Excuse me." I said, "Can I help you?" And he looked at me and he goes, and he speaks Spanish. He goes, do you speak English? And I said, I don't speak. I only speak English. And he's like, oh, like, darn it, right? But because of what I'd done all week long with those translators, as soon as someone was talking to me, as soon as I want to talk to someone, I'm looking for a translator. So because of that, all of a sudden I'm thinking, well, I've just got to find someone who can understand him, right? People speak Spanish all over Miami. I'll just find someone to talk to him. So I just happened to look up, and there was another man just to my left, a little ways over. And I said, excuse me, do you speak Spanish? And he said, yes. I said, could you help this man? And he's like, yeah, for sure. So then they talk in Spanish, and pretty soon the guys call in for him on his cell phone. You know, he's calling, whatever. And so they both thank me, and off they go. Everybody's happy. But I just thought, oh, it's such a beautiful experience. That's the stuff we're supposed to do, right? That's the stuff we're supposed to do all the time. So then fast forward, I get on the plane, I'm coming home, my beautiful friend comes to pick me up, and we stop at Tim Hortons on the way home. And there's a young man outside of Tim Hortons with a sign, and he's playing a harmonica, and he says he's a single dad, and he's raising money for his kids, to feed his kids. And so my friend gives him money. I have no money left. My money's all gone. But my friend gives him money, and then we go into Tim Hortons. But oh, it's just like totally, I know that I have to go back and pray for this young man. So I go out and I said to my friend, we have to go pray for him. Okay, so we go out there, and I said, do you mind if we pray for you? And he said, absolutely, like, yeah, that'd be fantastic. So we both, you know, put our hands on him, and we just prayed for him, and we prayed for his kids. And this man was weeping. But you know what was awesome? You know how God works? So cool. So as we're praying, this man comes out of Tim Hortons behind us, and he hands this young man a $5 bill. And so we're already like, oh, that's awesome, right? Like, thank you. So instead of change that he was getting in his little bucket, he got a $5 bill. So anyway, that's fine. Then this lady walked past us, and she came back as we were praying, and she gives him a $20 bill. And she said, I saw you guys praying, and I knew that I had to come back here. And she just said, thank you guys so much, and God bless. And so in those 10 minutes, that young man got a lot of money for his kids. Well, not a lot of money, but you know what I mean? More than a few toonies or loonies. He got some actual bills, right? And so that was just this most amazing experience, because this man, he was just so blessed. And he's like, thank you guys made my night. And I said, no, we didn't. I said, you realize this was all done by God. God did this for you. He just used us to bring it to you, but it was God. God did it. God gave you the money. God. And this man, and he was just like, he was praying at the end by the time it was done, and it was just so beautiful. And you know what was awesome is that in those 10 minutes, there was a half a dozen of us that got impacted by the hand of God. Not to mention the people that are going to hear this story after the fact are going to be impacted by the hand of God. And that to me is the most amazing thing. So that was like, that's how I came home thinking, oh my word, this is so fantastic. And so for me now, I know that I'm going to go take that wellness training course, or that wellness training in BC coming up in September. And for me, then I know, I'm not exactly sure what God's going to do with me and that, but I know that there's a purpose for it, and that I have to work in my own backyard, and I have to help people to, you know, to just take care of their needs. You know, maybe they don't, well, there's poverty there too, but a lot of other things, you know, lots of different things like addictions and abuse and that kind of thing. So I know that that's the direction that I'm going. But I would leave you with, what are you going to do? And how, if this video has impacted you, or has touched you, or has inspired you, what are you going to do with it? You know, because we can get inspired by a lot of different things. We can be all motivated to do something, but nothing really, as Danny Johnson says, nothing becomes dynamic until it becomes specific. So what are you going to do? Because you can be God's hands and feet just like anyone. You don't have to fly to Nicaragua. You don't have to, but you have to be willing to do something. And so I hope that this inspires you. I'd love to hear your comments, feedback, whatever you have. I'd love to hear that from you. And I really hope that this has blessed you. So I hope that you have an absolutely amazing, amazing day. And I'm going to try and say this in Spanish. Dios te bendiga, which means God bless. Thank you, and have an absolutely fantastic day.